There is no trick. You already knew that, didn't you? Somewhere underneath all the video titles you clicked, all the openers you memorized, all the advice you paid attention to, you already know that what you're doing isn't working because a strategy can't fix what's actually broken. The reason it isn't working has nothing to do with your lines, nothing to do with your confidence, nothing to do with how you look or how much money you make. It has everything to do with what she feels the second she's around you. And you can't script that. And look, I know what you've been doing. You've been collecting information like it's ammunition. You watch the content, you take the notes, you run the opener, you follow the framework. And then you get in front of her, and it falls apart. And you walk away from that conversation and you tell yourself, you need more information, better openers, better timing, better tonality. You don't need more techniques. You need to understand why attraction isn't a conversation that goes right. It's a feeling that either exists or it doesn't. And you've been trying to manufacture it like you're mixing chemicals. That's the lie. That's what's rotting everything underneath. And because it's rotting underneath, here's what you actually look like from the outside. You're in a conversation with her, and you're not really there. You're running calculations. You're thinking about the next thing to say before she's finished saying her thing. You're monitoring her body language for signs of boredom. You're asking questions, not because you're curious, but because you've been told that asking questions shows interest. And she feels all of it. Not consciously. She's not sitting there diagnosing you. But something about the interaction feels off. Like you're performing for her. Like you need something from her. And the moment someone needs something from you, you stop wanting to give it to them. That's just how humans work. The harder you try to be attractive, the more clearly you signal that you don't believe you are. Anyway, you probably think right now, but I'm just being friendly. I'm being a good conversationalist. I'm doing what you're supposed to do. Yeah. That's exactly what the guy who gets friend-zoned says every single time. I was talking to a guy last week who swore to me he does everything right. Says the right things, compliments her, asks about her day, shows up, invests, and she keeps telling him he's such a good friend. He can't figure out why. I can. He doesn't make her feel anything. He makes her feel managed, like he's trying to pass a test instead of actually being present with another human being. And the men who make women feel something, they're not doing more. They're doing less. They're just not afraid of themselves. And this is the part that should make you uncomfortable, because this isn't your fault. The internet is drowning in bad advice. Scripts and openers and psychological tricks written by guys who've never actually tested them on a real woman, just packaged them up and sold them to you because you were looking for a shortcut. And you bought it. Because it's easier to follow a script than it is to become someone who doesn't need one. Because the thing is, the window where you learn this, where you actually internalize it, doesn't stay open forever. The men who figured this out at 22 are now 30, and they have a decade of reference experiences that compound into a presence you can feel when they walk into a room. So, attraction is a response to emotional security. That's it. That's the whole framework. When someone is genuinely at ease in themselves, not performing, not needing you to respond a certain way, not monitoring the temperature of the room, your nervous system registers them as safe and grounded. Every time, without exception. It doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter what they say. The feeling precedes the logic. And when someone needs your approval to feel okay, when you can feel them adjusting, recalibrating, measuring your response, something in your nervous system says, this person is uncertain. Uncertainty is not attractive. The proof isn't that this works when you do it right. The proof is what happened every time you abandoned it. I remember a specific period in my life when I was trying every framework, every method, every piece of advice I could find. And the more I tried, the worse it got. Not because the advice was useless. Some of it was fine, but because the act of trying that hard was itself the problem. Every technique I used was a vote I was casting against myself, a daily confirmation that I needed help to be enough. And then I stopped. Not because I gave up, because I realized I was optimizing the wrong variable. The moment I stopped performing and started just existing, in a room, in a conversation, in the presence of a woman I was attracted to, the feedback changed immediately. Not because I got better at conversation, because I stopped making conversation harder than it needs to be. The inverse proof isn't success. It's that failure, specifically, years of trying harder and getting less, is the evidence the formula wasn't the answer. So what does that mean practically? You stop practicing lines and you start practicing comfort, with silence, with uncertainty, with the discomfort of being in a room and not knowing if the conversation is going well, and being okay with that. Because your sense of self doesn't live or die on her reaction. Stop asking how to be more attractive. Start asking why you're afraid to just be yourself. Because underneath every trick you've been collecting, there's a guy who doesn't believe he's enough without them. And that belief, not your openers, not your tonality, not your body language, that belief is the thing she's detecting. Fix that. Everything else fixes itself. And I want to be honest with you about something. Because this channel doesn't work unless I'm honest with you. Knowing this doesn't make it easy. I have understood this framework for years. I still catch myself sometimes. In a conversation I care about, with someone I'm attracted to, I still feel the pull to manage it, to monitor, to adjust. The understanding removes the mystery. It does not remove the work. So if you've been watching this thinking, okay, now I know the trick and I'll just apply it. No. That's still the technique mindset. This is a long project. It requires you to actually change something about how you move through the world, not just add another strategy. But you know what you're building toward now. And that's more than most men will ever figure out. I'm talking to you specifically right now, not to an audience. You. You found this video because something isn't working. You already know what it is. You've known for a while. You've been hoping a technique would get you around having to face it. And I understand that, because I did the same thing for longer than I want to admit. But you're not going to find the answer in another opener, another framework, another system. You're going to find it the day you get genuinely comfortable being exactly who you are, with no performance, no script, in front of someone you actually like. That's the moment everything changes. You've got everything you need to get there. The only question is whether you're going to keep collecting techniques instead of doing the actual work. I think you're smarter than that. Otherwise, you wouldn't still be here. Subscribe, because next week I'm going to give you the specific reason you keep falling back into performance mode the second you care about the outcome, and what to do about it. You don't want to miss that one.